Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the ESP Shock Therapy Cup on Beyond the Summit. I'm Zyori. With me again is LD.
Excited to be here. Excited to cast some ESPrime Shock Therapy.
Yeah, today we are trekking through the losers bracket. We're going to cover that best of one, Fnatic versus Sigma, and loser goes home. First round losers bracket.
You know, to be honest, we were talking about it this morning. This losers bracket is pretty stacked. Fnatic's down there, Sigma's down there, Speed is down there, and I believe
Empire's down there.
Empire's down there as well. That's right. So
yeah.
It's a stacked losers bracket.
It certainly is. We have the brackets available, and we'll take a peek at them before we get into this first game. So our winners bracket finals will be Sad Boys versus Team Liquid, and that is not coming up today. We're down here in the bottom. We've got Sigma versus Fnatic coming up first. The winner of this series will be facing off against Empire as our second best of three. And directly following this best of one, we'll have Speed Gaming versus eHug. So a best of one, then two best of threes today, LD.
Yep, absolutely. And guys, of course, that bracket was shamelessly stolen from Liquipedia.net, but we gave them credit, so we're allowed to do it. And big shout out to them. They do a great job with the Wikipedia. But with that being said, I think we're ready to hop into it, man. Yep. Draft's well underway.
Let's do it.
So, like you mentioned, this will be a best of one. Fortunately, today, no server disputes, at least for this match, because both teams are from Europe. So, looking at the draft, I asked K-Pop Tosis, "Hey, buddy, you got any big predictions today?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think Sigma's going to try to get Bane." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen." he was trolling me, of course. But yeah, Bane gets banned on the first stage. No surprises, but Invoker is not banned. Teams have been banning Invoker consistently versus Sigma for weeks now, and Fnatic lets it through. Exort Invoker isn't as strong as he used to be, but Wex Invoker is stronger. We saw that yesterday firsthand.
Yeah, we certainly did. It's a different playstyle with the Invoker, but it works pretty darn well. We saw that really intricate bit of coordination with that Tornado EMP and then that epic tower push towards the bottom lane. That's a different Invoker than we're used to seeing, but still pretty potent.
Yeah, and getting he's in some ways I think Invoker may turn out to be, if not a stronger pick, then definitely a more versatile one in this patch. Because it does seem like Quaswex is fairly legit. He still suffers in the laning stage. He's still gonna get crushed by some of the lane dominators. I'd say probably OD's an obvious one. TA, Razor can be a tough matchup. I'm not sure how Viper is gonna fare against this new Invoker. With the old Quas Exort, he still did pretty well. But even if he doesn't win his lane, Quaswex Invoker often makes up for it in the mid game, and with this patch, even more so. So looking at some of these other bans, man, we got a Dazzle ban.
Yeah, most of Sigma's bans look pretty solid in terms of what Fnatic like to run. We actually got to see them do an Era Pugna the other day, Enchantress and Wisp, obviously both no-tail heroes that he's quite a positive win rate with. And that Dazzle, we've been seeing more and more of him throughout this tournament. And at this point, I'm honestly not surprised to see him banned out. He's really had a driving role in some of these games. That 24-second weave is just a force to be reckoned with. I'm a little more curious about what Sigma has in mind for that Shadow Demon second pick. We have seen a little bit of Shadow Demon mixed in. We were talking about a potential Shadow Demon Dazzle duo the other day. I don't know if it was on air or after the broadcast, but how epic that can be.
And by the way, your mic has drifted quite a bit. People can hardly hear you, so
yeah, of course.
It's okay. It's okay, buddy. Don't panic.
Don't panic. Stay calm.
Relax. You're doing fine.
Relax.
But we do see Fnatic pick up Alk. His stun has been, I'd say, fixed because it was really broken in the last patch. It works the way it's supposed to in Dota 1. The stun has a set travel time, and if it finishes the channel time before it connects, it explodes in mid-air, so no longer can you release it at 0.5 seconds and then watch it fly for 4 or 5 seconds across the map. So more of a balanced support, but Acid Spray is still really strong, especially on the dire side. You can Rosh very early. Also a hard hero to push into, and a good early game ganker as well. So Veno Alk, Fnatic supports are really strong in the laning stage. You can run Alk mid, but especially against Invoker, I don't think it's going to be the strongest matchup. You can just spam Acid Spraying at some farm, but you're not going to win the lane.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still struggling with my mic here. This thing is not nice. How's that look, LD? Am I
looks better?
Looks better. Yeah, keep us informed in chat, guys. We've got it open, and we swapped out headsets this morning, and that may have proved to be a mistake.
A fatal flaw.
Yeah, a fatal flaw, and
we'll see.
Continue tweaking here. So anyhow, Shadow Demon, that first support pick from Sigma. Now they're going to grab themselves a Crystal Maiden. Any thoughts about Shadow Demon as a second pick, LD?
He's a very strong situational support. I think he's a little underrated in the previous patch, mostly because some supports were really broken. Like, Alk jumps out at you. Visage wasn't more broken in that patch, but he's just really strong. Bane offers you a bit more crowd control, but where Shadow Demon excels is in just getting those burst damage kills, as well as countering illusion-based carries, or carries that have really strong illusion. So Shadow Demon really good against Luna, also really good at setting up Invoker Sunstrike. So we could see Sigma, if they want to, go for some early game aggression. Now, we've talked about this a lot. This team really is built around lane dominance. When they don't dominate the lanes, generally they struggle, and sometimes even when they do, they struggle a bit in the mid game. Now, they were using Funzy as a stand-in last match, but I really want to see if Sigma gets a lead, can they actually close it out? Because they fell short last time.
You're exactly right. They dominated the lanes, and that was the game where we saw that Ethereal Blade come out on Gyrocopter, and it seemed to be perhaps... Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't the Sigma game. That was... Was that the Sigma game? No, now I'm forgetting.
What? Sorry.
The Gyrocopter that ended up with the Ethereal Blade?
No, that was Eternal Envy.
Yeah, that was Eternal Envy. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Sigma did run Gyro, though.
Yeah,
they ran it for Sakshka.
Yeah, so a similar issue that they had where it seemed like they were going to take a very easy win, and they weren't able to break the base.
They were running Slark, Gyro, and Mirana. I think they were running a Tricore, and that was against the Doom and the Storm.
Yes. Oh, that Refresher Doom. Yes, yes. That was quite a match.
GG. Too strong late game, man. So Fnatic, they see that Sigma needs an offlaner and probably more of a utility hero. They ban Nyx. Or sorry, Fnatic does, seeing that that's what Sigma needs. And Nyx has been pretty popular lately as an offlaner. I'm still not really sold on his offlane, especially with Clock in the pool. Clock is guaranteed to get levels pretty much simply by cogging the creeps and pulling the lane back, whereas Nyx is not. And we saw that was starkly evident in one of the matches yesterday. It was Funnick playing an offlane Nyx, I believe, against...
That was when he was
standing in for Fnatic.
Yeah, standing in for Trixie, right.
Yeah, and there's not much you can do as Nyx if the enemy team keeps the wave back, and they have a strong duel or tri-lane that could keep you out of lane. So I think I'd rather see a Clock ban, but that's why. Fnatic, they've got the next pick and they want it for themselves, so that makes a lot of sense.
So, and again, we're going to see Ancient Apparition here. I'm still a little skeptical about how well Ancient Apparition will work with this lineup, because I think statistically throughout this tournament he hasn't been that successful. But we have seen him work well in a couple of instances. That particular match was one when he was able to farm up an Ag Scepter, which seemed to be... This headset is really giving me some issues here. Somebody mangled it. Oh, there we go. It fell off my ears. Maybe that was the issue I was having.
I just turned you up a bit, but
oh, that was the issue. This one really doesn't fit on my head well. Somebody mangled it. It was not me.
I'm not gonna blame. Someone had a big head who used to do some casting with us, and we broke the headset trying to make it fit his head. But we'll see if it's fixed. If not, we'll just go back to the old one for today, buddy. Yeah. But anyway, I guess we're ready to get into game one. Well, sure best of one, I should say.
Yeah.
Our only match for this series.
Yeah, and remember, this is first round losers bracket, so unfortunate that either Sigma or Fnatic will have to go home early, but that's the way the cookies have crumbled, so to speak. So a lot on the line in this match. This is a fight for survival, LD.
It really is, and well, we'll introduce the teams now. Sigma, they're on the Radiant side. Your third place team at Starlighter almost took that epic win off of Na'Vi. Fell short and have often been that team that jumps out early but just can't close the deal. We've got Sakshka going to be taking up the offlane Lifestealer role. We'll have Dota Zero. Man, I told them to use their real names. They did not listen to me.
I think that is Pos.
That is Pos. Pos on the Crystal Maiden. Towards the mid lane, we have Fata on his Invoker. Never got to see it at Starladder. It finally gets through. I'm excited for this. At Miguel, the Nature's Prophet. Funzy not standing in this time, and then that does leave fucking Mad on the support Shadow Demon.
It sure does. On the Dire side, we've got Team Fnatic. Hani not going to be playing mid this game. He will be on the Venomancer, headed up to that top lane. In the mid, it will be a dual lane. Era playing on the Luna, Fly on the Ancient Apparition. In the off lane, we're going to have Trixie on Clockwork. And last but not least, we have No Tail on the Alchemist. He's going to throw a ward down in the mid lane. And we'll see where he ends up. But still a little bit of lane shuffling happening. May just rotate up to the top lane.
So Fnatic's going to go with this dual lane mid again. We saw this yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? We saw from Fnatic as well. It was a Luna Crystal Maiden dual lane mid. And they actually did well in the lane, but the problem was then they gave up that ultra kill to Bulba's Death Prophet.
Yes.
And Bulba never died. So that's the downside to running this dual lane is... often when you see dual lanes mid, it's with a Lich, because then their solo mid just falls behind in experience. But not going to be the case here. And if Invoker doesn't die in this lane, consider it a success. More than anything, this hero just needs levels, but hold that thought.
Yeah, already, No-Tail up to some tricky work here. He's going to smoke. Will use that unstable concoction. It's going to be almost a full duration stun. Fada in big trouble to start things off. I think Fnatic will secure that first blood. No-Tail going to be the one to grab the last hit.
Well done by No-Tail. You could see, though, that was actually close to backfiring because he had 1.5 seconds left on the stun when he unloaded it. If the Invoker had just run south a little bit, seen him a second sooner, like if, say, the Alchemist didn't have boots, might have exploded midair without hitting him.
Yeah.
As the stun does work. It has been fixed to work that way now. So No-Tail's going to keep on roaming. He heads bottom, and Miguel could well be next. He does have an Observer Ward here, but if he gets caught out, it ain't going to matter. And he is getting caught out.
Miguel, he's suspicious, but No-Tail will go forward.
Trixie's not really in range, but yeah. Prophet getting zoned out quite a bit. And he's missing last hits because his lane is pushing.
Yeah. That means Trixie has a little bit of room to free farm, and we'll start picking up that experience. Now up in the top lane, we've got Sachka on the Lifestealer, and he's off to a good start. 8 and 5, the last hit leader, and actually slightly out-farming Era on that Luna in the mid lane.
Yeah, so they're running an aggressive tri-lane for Sigma, and Shadow Demon, Crystal Maiden, Lifestealer, anyone who's in the lane is a pretty easy kill, but Hani's just jungling right now, so if you're Sigma, you want to find some way to pull the creeps, which you can just pull this big camp here. You can actually pull the enemy creeps as well. If they're not going to lane, you could just pull either camp. It doesn't matter. But if they're just sitting here statically with 3 heroes, and they're really camping for someone to show up, you could see Paz is actually eating his way through the trees. But there's nobody here. Then they're just falling behind in experience, and this is not a good pushing tri-lane. They're not going to be able to take the tower early. None of these heroes bring towers down fast, so this is a big win for Fnatic in that lane. 3 heroes not sharing experience, not pulling. Veno getting something out of the jungle. Mid lane, they got first blood, and then the off lane is going well because Miguel is constantly running for his life, and he's running for his life again.
Yeah, No-Tail going to charge another stun, and this one about as long as you can charge it down to the half second. Trixie is in the mix this time. Miguel in big trouble. He's going to try and pour it out. It's not going to be enough. Clockwork going to secure the kill. Fnatic going to pull ahead with a quick 2-0 lead.
And now Sigma, they know something's up. They smell shenanigans, and they've smoked and headed towards Hani in the jungle. But look at Hani's positioning, just way back below the ramp. Even if they find him here with the disruption, they need a Sunstrike, and they do have one.
Hani could be in some trouble here. There's the Frostbite. That is going to be a dead Venomancer. One last auto attack from Mad, and they will seal
And now mid,
the deal.
Fata also goes down right as that happens. Big dive. They've actually gone for a single early point Chilling Touch. We've seen some players taking this early. Some have been skipping it with the improvements to Ice Vortex, but they bring down the Invoker, and to be honest, killing the Veno, not as important as killing the Invoker.
Right.
Still, he gets experience for that kill, I believe. Or no, sorry, he didn't get the last hit, so he does not. So Fata's level 3 at 3.5 minutes, not having a good time. The enemy dual lane, both level 4 already.
Yeah.
He's really far behind.
Yeah, Fada's last hits are abysmal right now. Only 4-0 on that Invoker here as we're about to approach the 4th minute of this match. That is very, very unfortunate for Fada, very uncharacteristic, and speaks to how effective Fnatic have been at shutting down that mid lane. We'll see another smoke from Fnatic. This time it's going to be No-Tail and Fly rotating their way to the top lane. So perhaps looking to put some pressure on this Sigma tri-lane. No, it looks like they will just rotate back into the mid. Hastrune will spawn in their path, and that's going to make things a little bit easier. Now No-Tail's hasted up. Fada going to be in big trouble again.
Yeah, Fada, if he hugs the south side of the tower, he should be okay.
Right.
And No-Tail's just going to stun himself.
Yeah. Good positioning from Fada there. Will avoid death. Still not able to pick up much in the way of farm. Meanwhile, Era is just soaking it up. 21 and 9, though. Still a little bit behind the benchmark of that Lifestealer. They have finished off the Tier 1 tower in the top lane, furthering the gold lead here of Paris.
By the way, I'll eat some crow here. I did misspeak. It doesn't explode midair. It fails to get stronger. In Dota 1, it explodes midair. And to be honest, I thought he had changed it to work like it does in Dota 1, but yes, I did get that one wrong, guys, so my apologies. But yeah, the stun does not explode midair. In
Damn it, LD. Killing esports.
They're going mid now, though. Another smoke gank.
They are going to rotate. Though, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull this off too easily. That Chilling Touch.
I think it should explode in midair, by the way. That stun is ridiculous.
Yeah. At least it doesn't tick down in midair, though. That was... It's baby steps. Yeah, baby steps.
I mean, we've already seen No-Tail's early movement has been superb.
Yeah.
In spite of that, though, Sigma has actually managed to pull ahead in terms of gold, mainly because of the Tier 1 that they took, but experience looking good in bottom lane. Big engagement breaking out.
Yeah, Miguel maybe in a little bit of trouble. No, it's going to be Trixie that's in trouble. There's the Nature's Prophet ulti. No Tail going to be destined to fall as Shadow Demon finishes him off.
And top lane, Lifestealer going deep on Hani. They're going to get another kill. Sigma, they were down 0-3, and now it's 4-3.
Yeah, all of a sudden erupting with some chaos here. Both lanes breaking out into fights simultaneously. Yeah, Sigma actually getting some momentum. That gold lead jumping up to just about 2,500. Experience graph comparable.
And they're basically a global lineup with Sunstrike and a level 6 Prophet. So anywhere there's one hero, there's 3. And if you smoke with the Shadow Demon and Crystal Maiden and say gank the Lifestealer's lane, there's 5 heroes in that lane effectively. So it's hard for Fnatic. If they show themselves on the map, they can easily be outnumbered. There was a hook shot, though, bottom lane, and Miguel is really dead.
Yep, Trixie going to be able to finish him off with the battery assault. An easy kill for the Clockwork, and that's where Clockwork starts to thrive in this solo lane, level 7, when he starts to peak at some of that damage. Of course, level
They're
4
not done yet.
assault.
Fnatic's smoking up too. Both teams have to be almost out of smokes at this point. Yeah, this is Fnatic's last smoke for the next 4 minutes, and Sigma have, let's see, Sigma have none left of their own either, and they've smoked on effing Mad as well. So this is it for both teams.
And it's going to get revealed as Paris walks by. So unfortunate. Fnatic desperately need a kill on this Lifestealer. He's really starting to pull ahead in last hits. And even on the net worth chart, about 800 up on Era's Luna. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Mad going to be in some trouble. No Tail connects with a stun. There's the Venomous Gale from Hani. Ends up being an easy kill on Mad.
Yeah, Fnatic's really roaming as a pack, and against this semi-global strat, that's the better way to play it. The only risk is you can fall behind in experience, but they're leaving Trixie bottom, and F.A. Mad, he's like, hey, I've got global backup. I can smoke on my own. Lifestealer's nearby, but if you just get caught by 4, that's not going to matter. And now bottom. Again, the aggression.
Speaking of Trixie, Frostbite into Sunstrike. That'll make for an easy kill. Nature's Prophet ulti was on its way in as well. And Sigma will add another one to the scoreboard. That ties it up 5 apiece here at the 7.5-minute mark. It's a bit of a bloodbath to get our series started today, LD.
Yeah. 10 kills and wait, was there a buyback on Alk? No, my game just glitched. It says there's a buyback, but there was not.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. That's one I have a good excuse for, at least, I swear. I'll take a screenshot for posterity, but I do want to... Oh, we might see a dive top. I want to analyze this game, but there's just no time to do it. They're pushing bottom, though, and this is where Fnatic are going to struggle a little bit. It's only the Clockwork who can effectively stop the split push. Outside of that, they're not particularly mobile. So the tier 1 goes down for Sigma in their safe lane, and they're up by 3k gold, 2.5k experience. Midas up on Lifestealer. It's been up for some time. Sigma's actually in a pretty good position, and if you look at Fnatic's draft, they need a lot of items to fight in the mid game. Era's going to need BKB. He's working towards it, doesn't have it yet. No Tail, only level 4 after the really good early roaming. He's fallen behind, and to be honest, this does tend to happen to him quite a bit. So I think for Fnatic right now, they need to get the global on Ancient Apparition. They need to find a BKB on Luna ASAP. And outside of that, with no smokes, they can't rely on these ganks anymore. They just have to farm safely.
Yeah, they did a really good job shutting down the Invoker's farm mid, but unfortunately that didn't really translate to top-notch farm for Era. He's now starting to make a bit of a recovery. Did not go for that Midas first. Instead, Power Treads into Ring of Aquila, and now the Ogre Club to start working towards that BKB. As this game goes on, Lifestealer will continue to out-farm him as that Midas kicks in, and those 2 towers certainly aren't hurting the bottom line for Lifestealer.
And they can also go for teleport bombs, and there's quite a few easy targets. You can even go on Luna if you have Treant summons off cooldown, just infest Prophet, TP in, drop, summon the Treants, and then just open wounds, right-click him down. So anyone, maybe not Clockwork, he's pretty tanky, but speaking of Clockwork, he's been spotted by a Radiant Observer Ward, and he's going for a hookshot anyway. Fata's still going to get caught.
Going to be an easy Gale that connects. In comes the Sunstrike. Trixie could get turned around on. Ancient Apparition will connect with an ultimate onto Fata. That should be a dead Invoker. Trixie will pay with his life, as will the Alchemist. And it's not over yet. Now Hani in big trouble. Sigma will turn this around. A 1-for-3 exchange. The Eclipse comes in. Not much damage done. Miguel finally gets taken down. Crystal Maiden with a big freezing field. Fnatic get completely cleaned up. A 3-for-5 exchange.
Yeah, that Trixie was spotted, and Sigma were just baiting hard. It's like, are they going to help Fata here? They've seen the gank coming, and boy, were they ready. Yeah. Prophet TP's in from the back. Sakshka actually had to run all the way in from the top lane, and he still got there in time to clean up. Everything went well for Sigma. Eclipse was useless. They didn't have vision uphill. They don't have a ward there, so the Eclipse didn't do much. Fnatic tower diving against a global lineup. Usually a bad idea. If you have enough of an item advantage, or if you really catch them off guard, it can work. But we do see Equasis Exhort Invoker. Sure, the Forge Spirits aren't as strong. He doesn't even have to yet, but all his other abilities are equally potent at this stage of the game, and at all stages. The Sunstrike's still really good, especially with Shadow Demon to set it up, and Ice Wall, very difficult to tower dive against. So Fnatic just underestimating Sigma's ability to turn fights around at their own towers, and now they're really ahead. They actually had 2 Midases. Prophet got his a couple minutes after the Lifestealer. Now he's up to 600 gold. And to be honest, Fnatic can't really go farm the lanes on their own. If they do, they're very vulnerable to the global ganks.
Yeah, and this is another one of these games where we see supports
bottom lane. They're going in again.
And Trixie in big trouble. He will get the cogs off. In comes the Wrath of Nature.
Nice hook.
Hook shot away. Hani going to be in a position to make it happen, and Trixie does survive.
It's a nice hook, but what did that actually cost Sigma? They throw Sunstrike in, and they sent 2 heroes bottom. Lifestealer is going to farm here anyway, so they can just be more efficient around the map. They can aggressively farm. Prophet's pushing on the lanes. He's farming the enemy jungle. Mad can farm his own jungle. We see Pas is farming his own jungle, and if you just look at the levels, this Alk is still not level 6. And Ancient Apparition finally caught up a bit. He's hit 7, but they're just getting a lot more off the map, and that's just what their lineup excels at. Spreading the map and then punishing the enemy if they spread out too.
Yeah.
And they're going mid.
All 5 of Sigma will converge around this mid-tier 1 tower. It appears they do want to knock it down. No Tail charging a stun. Will connect onto Sachka. Support won't be nearby for Fnatic, so no follow-up. This is going to translate to a free tower for Sigma. Ancient Apparition ulti only going to connect with the Lifestealer. Not too bad. Glyph is burned. And No Tail needs to be a little careful here. There's the Cold Snap Disruption. And the Sunstrike will be enough to secure the kill as Lifestealer hops inside of a creep and will bomb out. Now he needs to be a bit careful as he's taking a lot of return damage. Era finishes him off with one last Lucent Beam. It ends up being a 1-for-1, but it's not done yet. There's the long-range hook shot from Trixie. Connects with Fada. That is a dead Invoker.
And Miguel's just split pushing bottom. Though they do get 2 kills. Nice turn of events for Fnatic, but can they translate it into a tower push? There's still a Glyph up for Sigma. Buyback is available on Lifestealer and Invoker. I don't know that you want to use it, but there's no creep wave, so they're not even going to dent this tower.
Yeah.
And he's got Shadow Blade, so even easier to set up those global ganks.
Alchemist will defend the bottom tier 2 tower that Furion was pushing, but that Wrath of Nature perfectly timed, and that was just enough to repel the forces of Fnatic. We see all of them at about half health. Era going to go ahead and grab the Morbid Mask, so he's not going to be rushing BKB, feeling like he needs some sustain. We'll see if he leaves it as a casual mask or upgrades it to the Helm of the Dominator before grabbing BKB.
I just want to take a moment to point out Sigma's ward coverage, because it's exceptional for their kind of draft. They see the entire enemy jungle, they see both runes, they see most of the common paths that heroes will transit through at this stage of the game, and even have a lane ward bottom, so like as you were pointing out. So Sigma running a semi-global ganking draft, this is the ideal way to ward. Aggressively, so you see if the enemy goes to farm their woods, and then you just go and kill them, and well, what can Fnatic do? They're 3 hero farming Ancients, but they're just continuing to fall behind. The double Midas advantage really kicking in, but the Midases are kind of secondary to the strategy. The core strategy is just asphyxiate Fnatic, and Fnatic is feeling the heat. They're going to smoke again, but this feels pretty desperate.
Yeah, it really does. And this is one of these situations, I mentioned it before, they did great. They put a lot of resources into shutting down the Invoker, but unfortunately that translated into Lifestealer picking up a lot of farm, and even this Nature's Prophet, although No Tail did rotate down and put some pressure on him, he still recovered very well in both experience and farm. Now this smoke from Fnatic, they will spot out Fada up in the top lane. Looks like he might not be the target of choice. Instead, they're going to go for Pas here on the Crystal Maiden. That will be an easy kill. Trixie is hasted up.
Uh-oh. He's going on Era now.
Uh-oh, Era. He may fall before this fight even starts. The Nature's Prophet ulti for a little bit of extra damage. That does make it a 1-for-1 support for carry. The question is, can Fada make the great escape? And, well, maybe not. Is he going to be able to take one out with him? No.
They came prepared with sentries.
He will fall. Yeah.
Unlike that game where we saw there was no sentries against the Knicks, so...
Actually, Fly almost dying to the Forged Spirits there.
Yeah.
Close call.
You know, they might have been nerfed, but they're still really strong.
Yeah.
And, he soloed Luna while the team was like 100 yards away. Nice deny bottom lane. I think Hani just denied that with a ward. Yeah, he did. So really well played, but still they're losing more ground. Down by 10k gold.
Yeah.
Their lineup needs those core items and levels to make a comeback. They do have level 2 Eclipse, but there's no BKB. And Sigma just have a lot of summons to negate the Eclipse damage. The Forged Spirits, the... as well as the Treants, and even Disruption Illusions can tank some. So Eclipse really isn't that effective, and then where does the damage come from for Fnatic? It's a lot of they've got a lot of damage from nukes, but Sigma is not the kind of lineup that's going to group up. They tend to spread the map a lot, so if you only hit 1 or 2, it's not going to be enough.
I mean, we see this combo between the Ancient Apparition and the Venomancer that we talked about yesterday, stacking those two ultis on top of each other. Really is an effective bit of team fight, but unfortunately Fnatic has yet to be able to really execute it. I don't think that Hani has used a Poison Nova yet, certainly not one that we've caught on camera. And that's been
he just hasn't had openings.
Yeah, exactly. That's been the big problem. Sigma have been positioning themselves very well and utilizing that Nature's Prophet about perfectly right.
Veno Ancient Apparition has had 1 good game, and if Fnatic goes on to lose this game, it's going to be 3 bad games, I believe.
Yeah.
We saw Empire was favoring it a lot yesterday. They had that one awesome comeback, but a lot of that was just late game Doom and late game Storm coming into play more than anything else. So we'll have to see, but so far this pairing just doesn't seem to get the job done. And you can kind of see why this game they're up against a Lifestealer. Veno's okay against him if you get a Gale off before he rages, but he doesn't have stuns, he doesn't have a Fiend's Grip, he doesn't have a Disruption, and Ancient Apparition is useless against Lifestealer. So we are seeing supports that just don't deal with Lifestealer well, paying the price in the mid game.
Yeah, and even Alchemist, he's all right against Lifestealer, but it just seems that No-Tail hasn't had a huge impact except for those first initial kills that he had on Fada. Since then, he has made a small recovery, now at least level 8. Still at the tail end of the pack, though, alongside his other supports on Fnatic.
Yeah, I guess I was calling Hani Veno or a support. Technically, he's not a support, but it's still the hero. That hero combo. The Alk stun isn't that great against Lifestealer. You can't actually stun him if he rages. He does take the damage, but he just can kind of tank through it and heal up anyway. So
yeah.
he's going for more of a mid-game build, Sanj and Yasha, but that's where the Sigma lineup is extremely strong. They can take it late, but they're going to go bottom now. Miguel onto Hani.
And Hani will be in big trouble. Sunstrike connects. He manages to get the Poison Nova off before he falls. The follow-up won't be there. Miguel just going to port out straight away. And Lifestealer will be safe and sound inside of his rage.
No-Tail actually did stun himself, but they're not going to die for that. And I think wisely so. Also, you can see Sigma doing a good job of staying ahead. Not only did they have the aggressive wards, but they're also, well, for some reason, fucking Mad's going to... oh, I guess he wants to scout with his illusions. Oh, he's actually going to bait a Trixie hook.
Wow.
I was like, did he self-disrupt by mistake? But
I'm going to say that was intentional.
Yeah, they can actually see this. I think he might have seen this Observer ward with Shadow Poison. It is inside Sentry range, and it's like, hey, I'm going to bait a hook shot here, but Fnatic did see him disrupt, so Trixie just slightly off the mark. But yeah, they're warding the Ancients, and they're making sure that Fnatic can't come back easily, because when you run Luna and Alk, that's a good way to come back.
Yeah. Fada up top wants to pressure this tier 2 tower. Luna will come to its defense, and actually Luna has made a decent amount of recovery farm with that BKB now up and sitting on that casual Morbid Mass, so at least Fnatic have that core item on the Luna to perhaps start having a presence in these team fights. But if you hit that F5 and look at the inventories, there's just a huge disparity between core items. Sigma now with a mech complete on the Crystal Maiden, still no mech. It really even started for Fnatic. That Sanjin Yasha now up on Lifestealer. Shadow Blade on the Nature's Prophet.
Top lane, there might be a go here. Trixie has seen Fata running into the trees.
And Fata with a Force Staff, so at least now he has that getaway vehicle.
But there's 4 heroes coming. They really want this kill.
Double damage on Trixie as well. What's Fata going to do? Oh, he's going to move into the trees. That's the Ghost Walk.
So they have sentries here. Meanwhile, Hani does go down, but Fata is the much bigger kill.
Oh, yeah,
and they will get it.
Nature's Prophet again, going to be able to do a fair bit of damage. That was still a 4-man gank just to kill the Invoker.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, even when they get kills, it's 3-4 heroes, and Sigma's farming mid. They were just warding the enemy jungle. They're playing very aggressively. Even on freaking CM is just strutting into the enemy jungle at 19 minutes in. And hey, why not? Phase Boots mech and always 2 buddies at your side when you need them.
Phase Boots mech at 19 minutes. That is one wealthy Crystal Maiden LD.
And now Miguel. Oh, he baits out the Eclipse. Is he going to live?
Oh, no. A wasted Eclipse from Aaron. Now Paris on his way in. Rage pop to start things off. Won't commit into the cogs, but still a wasted Eclipse. That is a victory for Sigma.
Trixie did drop a sentry there, but even if 4 beams hit, I think Miguel would have lived because he's got Power Charge and Ultimate Orb, so he's pretty tanky. And with Eclipse down now, Sigma, to be honest, could probably force the tier 2 mid, or they could even look at Roche, but they're going on Trixie.
And Nature's Prophet will port in. Trixie just going to dodge the Sprout. He was force stabbed anyhow, so he would have been okay. but he does avoid death.
I would like to see Sigma force something. They know Eclipse is on cooldown, and they're very far ahead at this point. 12k gold. Whether it's a tier 2, top or mid, or whether it's Roche, this is pretty much the ideal time to fight.
Yeah, hopefully Sigma don't fall into that same trap they did yesterday, or was it the day before, where they have this early game and it looks like they have the deal sealed, and then all of a sudden they revert to farming and sitting back, give the other team the space they need to make a recovery, and that's when things get scary. I mean, Fnatic have a team that can be scary if given enough space, Luna in particular.
So Fnatic go into the Roche pit. Prophet Trance did scout this, and I can't imagine that they're going to stick around and try to Roche, not having Eclipse. That would be incredibly greedy, but although Sigma are pushing top, this is a Lifestealer bomb waiting to happen. So they basically do have 5 heroes here. FA Mad gets caught out, though. And this Clockwork.
There's the hook shot to connect, and Shadow Demon will fall. Maybe Fnatic will feel a little more safe moving into Roche, but no, here's that Lifestealer bomb you were talking about. Force Staff to the low ground. Crystal Maiden also going to get picked off in the fray. Maybe Trixie's going to fall. A couple more auto attacks, maybe enough. Now Gale connects on Miggle. This is a disaster for Sigma. It's going to be a 3-0. Somehow Fnatic will secure this very, very risky Roche. They're going to make it a 4-0 as Fada goes down as well.
They might be a lot stronger in a head-on clash with Eclipse down, but they didn't come in at 5 at once. First, the Shadow Demon gets caught here, and then Trixie played it really well. Waits for the Force Staff out, and then immediately hook shot. So at that point, the Shadow Demon was completely screwed. The teleport from the Prophet and the Lifestealer came to the top side of the fight. CM got caught in the river, and the Invoker was coming over here. So everybody was in like 3 or 4 different locations. They came at different times, and Fnatic were just a ball of 5 moving as one. So even if you're stronger, if you don't fight as a team, you will lose the fights. And well played by Fnatic. All of a sudden, that grass dipping experienced a lot, almost dead even now, and that's dead even against double Midas, which is very impressive.
Yeah, and a fair bit of that gold graph is also coming from towers. The total tower count right now is 5-0 in favor of Sigma, so once those towers get knocked down, it will be leveled out a little bit more. But wow, it's not, I don't even know that it's fair to call that last engage a team fight. That was more of a 5 versus 1, 5 versus 2, 5 versus 1, and then the last remaining survivor just sort of walked away back to safety.
Sigma just got cocky, to be honest. They really they knew they were in Roche. They had Prophet Trance in the pit. They saw them walk in, and I mean, you know they're Roche at that point if they don't walk out immediately. But they just came in one at a time. One support up the river, one support down the ramp, and they're like, oh, we have Lifestealer Bomb. That's great. We can all be here at once. But they just underestimated Fnatic's damage output. And to be honest, they do have a decent amount of it just from Acid Spray and the Chilling Touch, which is max now.
Yeah.
If you think about it, Chilling Touch, 80 damage for 6 attacks per hero. That's plus 4 to 80 magic damage. Across your entire team, that is a lot.
Yeah, that adds up.
Now, I mean, it does slow your attack speed a bit, but it's still very strong.
Yes, especially in a situation like that. And following that team fight, Luna was now able to finish the Helm of the Dominator and also grab a Yasha. Era also reasonably close to level 16, the second highest level in the game. I'm still impressed with how well Era's been farming compared to the Midas of Lifestealer.
He's been getting hate too. Remember, they were warding his Ancients, and he didn't go Midas like you mentioned, and he's keeping up reasonably well.
Trailing by just about 2,000, 1,500. That's really not too bad for the 23-minute mark.
He's not that strong yet, though. Doesn't have Manta, which you really need against Lifestealer to deal with open wounds. Doesn't have Butterfly to deal with the Basher. He's not at the point where he wants to man-fight anyone, but in a team fight, very scary. And I mean, I mentioned Chilling Touch, but if you think about it, the combination of Chilling Touch and Luna Aura is a lot of additional damage for your team. 38 per auto attack per hero. That's like, I don't know, 150. So it's like basically 80 plus 38. It's almost 120 bonus right-click damage per hero. That's kind of insane if you think about it.
Yeah, it really is. So this situation feels a little bit like classic Sigma from what we saw the other day. We talked about how they're a very momentum-based team, which is great when momentum is going their way, but once the tides start to turn, they start to struggle a little bit more, though this is one of those odd situations where Sigma has a huge Midas advantage, 2-0, worth reiterating once again. So I can understand why they're a little more interested in sitting back, playing this passive farming game, as in the long run, they will come out ahead as long as they don't throw another team fight. But I think it's all going to be a matter of timing. LD, how long do you think Sigma should sit back and farm up these core items before looking to take some more team fights and maybe that last tier 2 tower in the mid?
The big item for them is the Scythe of Ice on the Prophet, because once they have that, they can start getting pickoffs around the map very easily. Between a Scythe and a Basher on Lifestealer, you can pretty much solo kill anyone.
Yeah.
As long as they don't have a bunch of backup. So I would say wait for the Scythe, and then use a smoke, maybe smoke the Shadow Demon and the CM, And you can just have the Invoker throw a Sunstrike in and Prophet Lifestealer TP Bomb on whoever you find. But they do have to be careful not to run into 5 because that's how Fnatic's been running, is as a pack.
Yeah. Mad does have an invisibility rune on right now. He's moving his way through the Dire jungle, perhaps looking for an opening. Nope, just going to throw a ward up on the plateau and will pour it out. So more aggressive wards coming down for Sigma. If you look at their vision, one on the plateau, one right in the middle of the jungle, though it's about to expire. Seems Fnatic are suspicious there's a ward up there, and it may get countered here pretty quickly. There's sentries coming on the courier. Nope, but well, that is the Manta coming out for Era. So there's that core item you were talking about.
Yeah, that's a big one versus Leicester. And at this point, the next big one, Butterfly or Satanic. I like Butterfly better, but they're actually both pretty good. There's a lot of right-click damage from Sigma, and there's also a lot of just nukes and burst damage. So either way would be fine, but yeah, he's still got a while to farm, and they're going to force the fight with the Aegis mid lane.
And in comes Sachka to start things off. He's going to get a bash on No-Tail, and No-Tail's dead before the fight starts. Trixie with a hookshot coming in, and they are going to be able to finish off the Lifestealer. That's going to make it a 1-for-1 to start this fight off. The Eclipse going to do a lot of damage to the Invoker, and Fnatic will secure that kill. Now Sigma on the back foot. Mag going to be in big trouble. The mech comes out. Trixie looking to pursue, trying to find an opening to trap in Mad, and he's going to get sandwiched in the trees. There's that Sheep Stick up on the Nature's Prophet. Will get used on Trixie, but unfortunately won't be enough to keep Matt alive, and it ends at a 1-for-3 exchange.
Shadow Demon Sandwich doesn't sound very tasty, but Fnatic will take it, man. It's, once again, Sigma just getting picked off. Lifestealer runs in first. Prophet had just picked up Hex, but was not able to arrive at the fight until too late. I believe he had teleport on cooldown and actually had to use his TP scroll to the tier 2. Didn't want to TP scroll into the tier 1 when there's like 5 heroes there, which makes sense, but they're just not fighting as a team, and Fnatic are punishing it and taking the Roche fight, now taking the tier 1 mid, and the graph is really going to tip. Plus they're jacking an Ancient stack here. Not a full, huge stack, but that's a lot of economic damage, and I want to point this one out. There's an Aghanim Scepter on this Ancient Apparition. This is a really scary item.
Yeah, and also a mech now out on the Alchemist. No-Tail's able to pick up following that fight, so the core items are coming out for Fnatic, but this is really a scary pickup. I mentioned that the only game we've seen Ancient Apparition be very, very effective was the game that he was able to pick up an Ag Scepter. Did miss that kill on Hani, who was jungling offensively. That is...
Yeah, they have a ward here, and they saw him run into their jungle.
Yeah,
and
very
Prophet has a Scythe, so pretty easy kill.
Yeah.
And they're going to go again, but they do need to wait for Scythe to cool down. Ideally, if they can find Era, Aegis has expired, that's the kill you want most. And they might just find him, because there's an Observer ward here. These aggressive wards from Sigma could come back to help them.
Yep.
But look at Fnatic. Everybody's converging.
Yep. Miggle, invisible, does have the Lifestealer bomb, and he's going to be forced back. Plenty of support nearby. So what does Era grab next? He's got 2.7k in the bank. If he can pool it up, perhaps wait for Lifestealer to make another executive item choice. If it's not an MKB, then go for the Butterfly and take that evasion advantage. And if Lifestealer starts preemptively going for the MKB, that's where I would say maybe Satanic would be a better first choice.
And, yep, I mean, like you said, if he goes Butterfly, MKB is probably a bit stronger, but Abyssal's still really good just for the lockdown.
Yeah.
Sigma does have Scythe, so even if you get a Butterfly, you can still remove the evasion with the Scythe of Ice. So
that's true. That's
it comes down to how the team fights develop, and if he gets off BKB in time. But for now, with Aegis down, Fnatic just want to try and keep the lanes pushed out, and the key thing is they're the more vulnerable lineup to pickoffs because of the Prophet with Scythe. Don't get picked off. By the way, fucking Matt got hit by that A ult and
I was looking
lost
at
like 2/3 of his health just to the ult.
I thought for a moment there, is he actually going to die? Is he going to shatter? It was a close call, but not quite.
It's 20 for 17 seconds, so that's what, 340 scepter damage just from the tick down?
Yeah.
Plus the 350, so it's like 700 damage, and you can't heal during that time.
Yes, exactly. So even if you port back to the well, if you're going to hit that threshold, you will die in the well.
I believe you... I'm not 100% sure, but you can disrupt and dodge some of the damage, I believe.
Ah, okay.
So,
to note.
there's some things that like stop the timer, but generally if you disrupt it, it'll tick down to 2.5 seconds, and you take a bit less damage.
Yeah. Now Fada is pressuring the tier 3 in the bottom lane with those Forged Spirits. A glyph will get used by Fnatic.
And Prophet just sniped the courier top lane, and that courier had a Bassi, so not a big deal.
Nothing too crazy. Fnatic will clear up that tier 1 tower in the top lane, so leveling out that tower count a bit more. Total count right now is actually pretty close. Fnatic have knocked down 3, and they have lost 5 of their own. So that gold graph should start to maybe level out. It's dipping, but still about a 12,000 gold lead for Sigma. The experience graph is where Fnatic are starting to look a little more powerful.
Yeah, but I think what we've really seen this game is that gold only takes you so far, right? Because they've had that gold lead, and they've still been losing fights. They have to select fights wisely, and they have to fight as a team or catch Fnatic not as a team. It sounds simple, but they've lost 2 huge team fights because they haven't been fighting as 5. So with good wards and with just patient movement around the map, I think they can do a better job of it, but it's been the issue for Sigma the past few weeks is great early game. They usually snowball, but then they just kind of lose their steam and their momentum in the mid game.
Yeah, and that seems to be the way this game is going, though still far from over. Era is going to commit to a butterfly now with the Eagle Song in the inventory, and Trixie reasonably close to grabbing his Ag Scepter.
Oh no, they're going in bottom, and there's 5 here for Fnatic.
Oh no, they think Trixie's a free kill. They're going to infest bomb. Trixie will die to start off this fight. The question is, how are Fnatic going to react? No Tail charging up a stun, needs to throw it. It is going to be just about the perfect timing, but a close call. Era, BKB on, looking for an opportunity to use that Eclipse. Won't find it, but they will find themselves a kill on Miggle, and that makes it a 1-for-1. Sigma thwarted once again.
Not a bad trade, but just not great. You'd rather have the Clockwork die than the Prophet at this point, because Prophet is more of a semi-carry. This Clockwork's mostly here just for the hook shot.
Yeah.
And potentially a Force Staff. And bottom lane, well, Spada creating space while his team pushes mid. Fnatic were grouped up as 5 there, though, and Sigma were farming mid, so pretty even overall.
Yeah. And there also is a gem picked up on Fnatic in the inventory of Hani, so they've taken a little bit of map control, and if you hit that F2, only 1 Observer Ward down for Sigma. And that is the dirty work of Fnatic with that gem.
Yeah, gem on Veno is really strong.
Yeah.
Just drop wards wherever you want, and they give really good vision in Dota 2,
yeah.
so...
And there's that Ag Scepter on Clockwork, so Trixie will have initiation after initiation with that short cooldown.
Are they going to go Rosh again? And interestingly, Lifestealer goes Heart against Ancient Apparition. Now, the ult, of course, will disable your passive regen from Heart, but it does give you just a lot more general HP pool to work with, so I'd rather see just an Abyssal Blade, MKB, or an Assault Caress at this point. But the Rosh is dropping fast, and Sigma are giving this up. That dire advantage coming to play. The wards, as well as the gem on the Veno securing the map control, and this is a really big loss for Sigma.
Yeah, they will scout it out with Nature's Prophet. Treants, fortunately, though, will give them too much intel that they didn't already have, and it ends up being a free Roche. Aegis of the Immortal going the way of Arrow once again. And a couple of other interesting item choices that are worth noting. BKB's up on Fada, and there's also a BKB up on Pass on that Crystal Maiden. So Freezing Field could actually come into play in this next team fight if he can find the positioning for it.
Yeah, this CM is she's gonna need the biggest ult of her life, because Luna just picked up Butterfly. Arrow's 1 item away from completely out-carrying this Lifestealer. Going Heart, Sanj, and Yasha, Drums. It's a lot of tank items, but not a lot of DPS items. And without an MKB, that evasion's gonna ruin him in fights.
And not a lot of attack speed either. That's one of the great things about the Abyssal Blade Assault Kuros combo is you get the bash, and then you also get that attack speed. Here he's got
to get more bash procs.
Yeah, he's got the Sanj and Yasha, but still the bash procs are going to be few and far between compared to a Lifestealer going a more attack speed based build.
Yeah, even like MKB or Armlet gives you a lot. His attack speed's not bad. I mean, you have Rage, right? So you always get okay attack speed, but
it's not bad, but not great.
Yeah, you need to be praying to the Bash Lords, and mid lane there's a big hook shot in.
And we'll connect with Pos. BKB pops straight away. Frostbite, Freezing Field. Trixie will Force Staff back to safety. He is hasted right now, so might be able to make the great escape. Cold Snap making his life a little more difficult, though their sights have been turned. Now Miggle going to get turned around on. And Mad not out of the clear yet. Needs to be rather careful.
He's dead. That Ancient Apparition ult won't end. Crystal Maid actually tried to mech him to save him, and now they've lost 3.
Wow, what a disaster for Sigma. A 3-for-0. Fly taking a little bit of damage from the Forged Spirits, but that's where the fight's going to end. Lifestealer's up in the top lane, possibly trying to pressure a tier 3. That's not going to happen, and now Fnatic will converge. Paris headed for the hills, and oh, he's going to actually turn an about face. Trixie
the team's coming. The team's coming here. He does have Infest, but nothing to infest.
Oh, no, and Trixie does have a hook shot. He should be able to survive this. There's the stun. No way Paris is going to survive this assault. It's a massacre. Make it a 4-for-0. Fnatic, they are on fire.
And Era just was like, screw you guys, I'm going mid. So they might just break the base now. And will Sigma once again be thwarted after like a 10-12k gold lead, just fall short in the mid game.
Wow.
It seems like it right now. They buy back on the Invoker, but that's not enough to stop this push. Although, actually, it might be. There are 2 heroes respawning soon, so I guess Fnatic won't get racks, but yeah, that gold lead's evaporating. And they're losing with that gold lead, so
yeah,
good luck to them winning without it.
Exactly right. So, now, Fnatic will group up about this tier 3 tower. And Era still on the front lines. Glyph not available for Sigma. They already used it at the beginning of that last push. Again, Era has the Aegis, so he can afford to take a bit of extra harass here. And isn't going to be too upset about it. Fnatic do need to be a bit careful.
Can Shadow Demon be the hero for Sigma? Because disrupting Luna is most of their damage, as we do see Alchemist go down. And Era's dropping low. He's going to lose Aegis. There's not a whole lot of backup here.
Yeah, Force Staff into the base. There's the Sprout. Era going to be in trouble. Sheep Stick straight away. Force Staff, double Force Staff. Era at least going to be on the low ground. Ice Wall comes out. There's the Eclipse. We'll take a couple of beams. Not going to be the best Eclipse we've seen, but the tier 3 tower still falls. Era perhaps being too bold here as he's now on the high ground, stuck inside of a Sprout.
And Roshan ult's coming in. This is going to be a lot of damage, but it completely whiffs on everything.
Oh no, now Trixie in some trouble. There's the hook shot back to safety. And Fnatic will walk away.
They got a little overzealous there. That was not a very good Eclipse, but I think the main thing is they lost the Aegis. And they had like, if you look like, I think 2 minutes left on the Aegis. Yeah, that's 2 minutes before it was going to expire. So they really could have just backed, healed up, or waited for 5 and then gone with Satanic and Aegis on Era. And that means he's ungodly hard to kill. But still, Fnatic seems like they have the momentum. Never underestimate the power of the throw.
Yeah.
A wise friend once told me. But for now, I still give Fnatic pretty good odds of taking this game.
Yeah, they seem to be in good shape. Any other big items picked up following that fight? Satanic is on the way for Luna. Ancient Apparition going to grab himself a Force Staff. That's now 4 Force Staves on the side of Fnatic and 2 for Sigma. This is the game of Force Staves, LD. 6 across these 10 heroes.
Yeah, against Clockwork, Force Staff's good. Against Lifestealer, Force Staff's good. Against Prophet, Force Staff's good. Hell, it's good against everything. It's just a ridiculous item, and it got a slight nerf in the travel speed of the Force Staff, but that's so irrelevant. It's still an amazing item.
It certainly is.
And big smoke gank from Sigma, but they're not going to find anything. They're trying to smoke behind Miguel and bait him, but Fnatic ain't having it. They're smoking or just running the other way.
Yeah, it seems Fnatic almost have their sights set on mid, and I see that ping down bottom, so perhaps they will rotate. Finally knock down that last remaining tier 1 tower in the bottom lane, and should make for a reasonably easy push. Looking at that net worth chart, boy, have the tables turned, as now Luna is leading the way, about 5k gold ahead of the Lifestealer, who had such an advantage throughout this game. Trixie, though, fortunately going to add to that Sachka farm, as he does concede an unfortunate and untimely death.
Yeah, Trixie just off on his own a little bit. He's one of the more aggressive and just aggressive offlaners. He'll try to make huge plays, and sometimes they work out, and sometimes they fall on their face. And that time, well, he ran into a Lifestealer, and that's pretty much all she wrote.
Yeah. No Tail, the lone defender up here in the top lane, as that tier 3 tower takes a bit of chip damage from Sigma, though it seems they will retreat, not going to overcommit into the Alchemist. A big item pickup for Fnatic. It's going to be on Hani, that Venomancer. Not only level 16 for the level 3 Poison Nova, but now going to have a Sheep Stick for a little bit of extra crowd control.
Yeah, and MKB up on the Nature's Prophet, which will help them against Luna a bit, but he is secondary DPS. They can't count on him to... You're not going to win the man fight. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. And speaking of Luna, has another ultimate orb. I guess think about the Lincolns to deal with the Scythe of Ice of the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah.
So I'm really surprised you didn't just complete Satanic, though. That's very unusual.
Yeah.
Could be an Eye of Scotty. Could be a Scythe of his own. I mean, Scotty is a weird item on Luna, but does give you a lot of stats.
And we have seen Fnatic grab Sheep Stick.
They love Eye of Scotty as well.
Yeah.
I will mention that.
That is true.
They actually infamously lost their elimination match at TI3, in large part, I feel, because of item selection. They went for double Scotty on their Shadow Fiend and their Luna, and it's just not the strongest hard carry item, but they do have a lot of damage from these supports, so I don't think this is a game where they necessarily need a pure right-click Luna.
Fnatic can be a hard team to read when they have an ultimate orb in the inventory. It really could be any of those 3 items. They like their Lincolns, and they As you mentioned, they like their Scotty, but they also like their Sheep Stick on those carries. I've seen their Shadow Fiend pick up a Sheep Stick a time or two, so I wouldn't totally count it out.
They're pushing top now, and Sigma gonna just rat it up a bit. Miguel will push it in the middle lane, but he's not gonna push fast enough to stop this tower from going down.
Yeah, Era in the front lines will use the Manta to tank the tower, and that tier 2 will just evaporate. Port back from Hani to try and defend the tier 2 in the mid lane. Don't know that he'll be able to keep it alive. Could perhaps set up a deny. Another port coming in as well, so Fnatic do seem interested in making a defense, and they will make a hold as the rest of the team comes back. Tower in deny range. Easy deny for Era.
What is he going for? Ultimate Orb up. It will be an Eye of Scotty. He really loves this item.
Wow.
Era and Hani, Eye of Scotty addicts to the bitter end, and we're going to see another one here.
Well, it will give him that passive slow, obviously. Now, I want to ask you, LD, do the bouncing glaives also proc the slow, or is that only on the initial attack?
I actually don't know. I want to say no.
I want to say no also.
But I'm not sure. So
Maybe Luna would grab Scotty a bit more frequently if all of the bouncing glaives took the attack speed and movement slow. That feels a little bit too powerful.
I'm actually not sure, though, so don't take my word for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. It's not often we see a Luna grab an Eye of Scotty, so this isn't one that we're accustomed to, perhaps.
They do stack on the initial attack, though. Eye of Scotty as well as Helm of the Dominator.
Yes.
So you can lifesteal, and you also get the slow. Yes. But I don't know if the bounce is slow as well. Either way, it's just, you mainly get Eye of Scotty at this point in the game just as a raw, like, stats item. So even if you get hexed, you can tank through it. And once he goes back for Satanic, this Luna will be, like, over 3k HP with 30 armor and evasion, and Manta Satanic as well, so good luck killing her.
Fnatic have knocked down the tier 2 tower in the bottom lane, the last remaining outer tower in this match. As they do press forward to start doing some work on this tier 3 tower, Sigma with a glyph available should be able to make a hold right here. Disruption comes out onto Luna. They will port back. Looks like they want to try and pressure Miggle, who was trying to rat Dota his way to victory. And now Miggle going to port back down to the bottom. Perhaps this rat Dota will pick up a kill. Trixie getting left behind, but he will survive.
Do it with flair.
Level 16 does have that hook shot.
Oh, he's dead. This Crystal Maiden. This Ancient Apparition ult just 17 seconds. What can you do, man?
Oh. Nothing.
He actually had BKB, though, and did not use it.
He could have BKB. I take
that is his 9-second BKB, and I don't know if it's worth wasting it, but
Still. That Ancient Apparition. He really gets dirty once he gets the Scepter.
He might. I think that had like 10 seconds left, but I think he would have lived with BKB.
And Fly is also level 16, so just recently picking up that level 3 Ice Blast, making it that much more potent.
Well, Fnatic could wait for, or could go for Rosh now if they want to play it safe, and with Era having so many item slots filled up, probably give it to Hani, the Hex Carrier, maybe to the Clock, though, since he's got Ags, and Clock with Ags can hook in, get a kill, die, and then come back again. So, yep, Era, 3.2k HP, 30 armor, pretty invincible at this point, and Lifestealer has no MKB. They're not going to kill this Luna unless they're able to fight the Luna alone. But if she's with her team, she should never die.
That is one stacked Luna. The only thing that he could change now is keep using that BKB and then perhaps build a new one to get back to 10 seconds. But that's about it. He is effectively 6-slotted. Trixie going to throw a hook shot. Will be off the mark. Not going to find
that was a YOLO hook.
Yeah. Well, when you have the Scepter, you might as well throw him. It's already off cooldown in just a second here.
At this point, just push out. If you're Fnatic, you just want to push the lanes out, pass the river on all three, and then 5-man down mid. And they have Boots of Travel on the Luna, and I think she's too tanky to die, even if they Lifestealer bomb her, unless Sigma also have smoked heroes. So they can send probably just Luna the split push one lane, and have the rest of the team push out mid.
The BOT is starting to come out for Fnatic to try and deal with the Rat Dota of Nature's Prophet. Fly going to grab the second set, and of course, Era did have the first set of Boots of Travel. And also another Sheepstick coming out for Sigma, now in the hands of Fada on the Invoker. So continuing to amass their crowd control to try and deal with this Luna to cut through that evasion. And also Abyssal Blade is up on Lifesteal. I'm not sure if we mentioned that, but another big item. So Sigma do have a pretty solid repertoire of items themselves. I think this last team fight will really come down to initiation and positioning more than anything else. If Sigma can take a true 5v5 engage, Well, they have a good chance, but if they continue with this...
I don't know if they have a good chance anymore. They
don't
definitely
think so?
did
Luna's
like 20, 25 minutes ago, but at this point, Fnatic, Luna is much better in the 5v5 clashes than Lifestealer at this point in the game. And especially when the Lifestealer's just gone for like a tank build. Because as tanky as he might be, he's not living through... Luna does too much damage. She just overwhelms his defenses.
Yeah, with an Abyssal Blade and 2 Sheep Sticks, maybe they can lock down the Luna. Again, the Aegis did go to Clockwork, so if they do manage to focus down Luna early on in the fight...
That's true, but there are 4 Force-Staffs on the side of Fnatic, so...
That is an even better point, yeah.
As long as he doesn't get Force-Staffed into the middle of their team, they should be able to get him out safely anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. So, Fnatic, not much else that they need to wait for. Now that their carry is 6-slotted, it is time to make it happen. They will press forward. That mid-tier 3 tower has already fallen, so exposed racks should be a relatively easy push. No-Tail to start things off, a stun on Mad. And now No-Tail may pay for it. He gets Force Staff back. Already the Rage used by Sachka, so he's going to be forced to about face now that the Rage has expired. No-Tail did survive. Glyph is available for Sigma here. So they'll have one window of opportunity, one margin for error as Trixie hook shots in onto Miggle. The defensive disruption, they're going to try to turn it around on Trixie. That's the target. Fnatic wanted him on. He'll come back up via the Aegis. No-Tail has also fallen, but as has the Lifestealer. Lifestealer buys back straight away, as will No-Tail. Racks under heavy pressure. Glyph still available. They're not going to burn
There was another hook shot in. They got 2, and good discipline from Era not diving because the buybacks did come. Trixie doing work with that Aegis.
Yep. There's the Glyph used. That will buy them a little bit of time. Still won't be enough. Fada will fall to the Ancient Apparition ult. Well played by Fly. So that got what they came for. Now some of their supports will retreat. Still all 5 alive. Only 2 up for Sigma, as now Nature's Prophet has also bought back. And there's the CM buyback as well.
He's still got Satanic. They really cannot kill him.
Era is just so beefy right now.
Maybe with the bashes. Where's the Force Staff? No Force Staff? Nope. Satanic gets turned on. He might die, but everyone else will fall too.
Era just standing his ground. Sachka going to try to run for it. He's going to try and pour it out. Not going to happen. There's the GG from Sigma. Only Crystal Maiden is the lone defender. Fnatic will seal the deal. So again, Sigma going to make that fatal misstep with an amazing early game. Almost crippling their opposition, but still not able to live through the mid-game and secure a win.
Yeah, Fnatic, kings of the comeback. They play pretty well from behind in general. And Sigma, it was just getting picked off, honestly. If they had just fought as 5 in the mid-game and maybe gotten some different items. So I wasn't a big fan of the Heart. Would have liked to see either Abyssal Blade or MKB like we were talking about, but to be honest, it was much more just the execution and not the item selections that were the issue, and
yeah.
I don't know. It's funny because they were running the more mobile lineup overall. They have 3 heroes who can be pretty much anywhere, and Fnatic really only had Hookshot and Ancient Apparition ult, but Fnatic just played as a team, used the dire advantage, and outplayed Sigma in the mid-game. What more can you say? They played well.
So again, this is just a best of 1. That means Sigma is eliminated from this tournament. Fnatic stays alive, and they will be continuing on today. We'll see them in a best of 3 in the losers bracket against Empire, if I'm not completely
yeah,
mistaken.
Empire versus Sigma, or sorry, Empire versus Fnatic, and also Speed Gaming versus eHug.
Yes, and the Speed Gaming versus eHug will be the match we have coming up next, or the series we'll have coming up next. But wow, poor Sigma. It's such a sad story.
It's frustrating. Like, yeah, we got to see the Fada Invoker, impressive Sunstrikes.
Yeah.
You know, there's a good Invoker player when you miss a few of the Sunstrikes. I remember casting Ice 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 at TI3, or sorry, TI2. That was the worst, man. Like, it's impossible to catch them all. But
yeah.
Yeah, Fada played really well in Invoker, and they were ahead. They just didn't execute well enough in the mid game, and they underestimated Fnatic's strength in the 5-man.
It seems like every match we've seen where Sigma does this really strong early game and they don't have that strong mid game, there's one big fight where they almost get cocky and throw a little bit, take a bad engage, and that's the turning of the tide, so they lose that momentum and just never recover. In this fight, it was around the Roche pit, like you mentioned, or in this match, pardon me, it was that fight around the Roche pit, and there were a few just key points in the other games where they need to work on that mid-game cohesion. When they have that lead, not get sloppy, stay tight, and just seal the deal, because...
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They just have to fight as a team when they have an advantage and not underestimate their opponents, because they definitely underestimated Fnatic in the pit.
Yeah.
Like we saw earlier in the game, CM's running around with Phase Boots mech. Oh, she's invincible.
Yeah.
That's fine when you're off in their woods, but when they're Roshan, you know there's going to be 5 there, and you have to stick together. And they didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have a short break. Coming up next, the best of 3 once again, Speed versus eHug. and we'll get that lobby up and get right into it. I'm Zyori. With me is LD. Thank you for joining us for the ESP Shock Therapy Cup. You're watching Beyond the Summit.